Hello and welcome. It's a new graphic novel comic book review by me, Andrew Ace. You can find me online at UYS999. This week I'm going to be talking about some 90s prestige format comic books that I just recently enjoyed. The prestige format was a comic book that was usually a little bit longer, no ads, printed on higher quality paper, heavier cardstock cover, and, well, a higher cover price. These were, before graphic novels were huge in the market, kind of their precursor, if you would. So, to start with, I've got Wolverine Bloodlust, Alan Davis, and Paul Neary. Now, what I liked about this story, well, it's set in Canada, up in the Yukon. What I found funny was that the people up there all speak half French, half English, and so I was left with this kind of a Quebecois trapper stereotype that, I don't know, might have worked in the 1800s, less so for the modern day. It's a great Wolverine storyline that sees him having to deal with his berserker nature, having him encounter this astral plane that's very trippy, and at the same time, issues of humanity and of Wolverine's past, not yet quite uncovered. This was originally written and done, I want to say 1990. Yes, first printing 1990. So if you're a Wolverine fan, I'd definitely check this out. These days you can find this in most back issue bins or discount bins for a couple of dollars, and it makes for a fun Wolverine read. Next, and this was quite a find, was Alien Salvation, written by Dave Gibbons and illustrated by Mike Mignola. You might recognize those two names, as Dave Gibbons was the artist for Watchmen, and Mike Mignola, artist, creator of the Hellboy series for Dark Horse Comics. So this is a classic 90s Dark Horse prestige format, but storyline that has, well, aliens, a spaceship crashing to a small remote planet, and of course the characters trying to survive the alien cargo that they were carrying. It's moody, it's gritty, it has a really neat, interestingly different intersection of a religious priest who's a pilot, or certainly the pilot is extremely religious, and then encountering aliens has him definitely praying to God. So, maybe that isn't for everyone in that sense, but I mean, come on. Look at this Mike Mignola art. This is just stunning. So, if you're a Hellboy fan, if you're just someone who enjoys an incredibly dark, moody, gritty comic book, or if you're a fan of the Aliens franchise and want something that certainly fits that, the Aliens, those early movies, this is a great read. And again, I found this in a collection that was sort of being, discount boxes at a comic book store, Comics North, actually, up in Sudbury. Definitely worth picking up. Now, another strange, slightly different read. This is Doctor Strange, titled, What Is It That Disturbs You, Stefan? The reason why I picked it up was that it's illustrated by P. Craig Russell, written by Mark, and I'm not even trying to pronounce this, so I apologize, Andreyko? I don't recognize the writer's name. Sorry about that. P. Craig Russell is an amazing illustrator, works on a number of different projects, one of my favorite being his work with Neil Gaiman on Sandman. This is a wacky, wild, almost Mobius-esque feeling, Doctor Strange story, and what with his character being a little more popular, the upcoming movie, I've been searching out some of the older, rarer, less known storylines that he's been involved in, and this was one that caught my eye. 90% of this is being read for the artwork. Not that the story lacks in any way, an interesting sort of trip into a fantasy realm, trying to rescue Doctor Strange's assistant Wong from the clutches of an evil, wicked sorceress, with shades of, Oz, Narnia, that sort of fantastical cities travel adventure storyline, but with this wild, incredibly well done, just beautiful, beautiful artwork. that I don't know, I could have enjoyed something that was 4 or 5 times the size. And if you are a fan of P. Craig Russell, check out Neil Gaiman's Sandman. They did a storyline together that's also collected in a beautiful, beautiful graphic novel, and definitely give you a bit more of that just incredible artwork that you're finding in this. So, those are the 3 prestige formats, and just the last one I'm going to mention this week is I found at the same time, this is all sort of I think 1 or 2 purchases, a bigger collection, but like I'm saying, discount bins, definitely the place to look, was Spider-Man Torment. Now, this was huge in the 90s. This was Todd McFarlane coming off Amazing Spider-Man, starting up the just straight up Spider-Man series, and I mean, I remember as a kid buying the silver cover, the bag, this was the day of the buy an issue number 1, put it in your collection, and 20 years from now, you're going to pay for your child's college's fees or university fees, and that did not come to pass. But it still stands as a marvelous storyline. The artwork is just stunning. I mean, Todd McFarlane, who later went on to create Spawn, really revolutionized Spider-Man's look, especially when it comes to his spider webs, which actually is something that the introduction by the editor of the original series, he talks about as he's trying to deal with Todd McFarlane's artwork changing so much of the Spider-Man look, the Spider-Man series, with these little details, but that sort of he wanted them to see consistently carried over into all the other Spider-Man titles, because there was Web of Spider-Man, Sensational Spider-Man, the ongoing Amazing Spider-Man. So this has fan favorites of Lizard. It has a Kraven the Hunter storyline mixed in, Mary Jane, because this is back in the day when they were together. And if you're a fan of 90s comic books, you're a fan of Todd McFarlane, you're a fan of great art, definitely worth checking out. I did feel that his writing wasn't quite as up to snuff as some of the other material I've read, but maybe that's just me judging sort of in hindsight, or maybe a little too harshly. I don't know if I'm being entirely fair with that. He does a great job on a great storyline, and if the dialogue feels a little forced, a little stinted, this is his first time writing. This is him, finding his legs, and I don't want to knock the overall enjoyment of this book for such a detail like that. So, guys, check out Spider-Man. Well, I'm trying to keep these a little shorter, so that's all for this week. But like I said, you can find me online at UYS999. See you all next Wednesday.